Welcome back once again. It's time for the 31 Days of Halloween, aka the 31 Days of Horror, aka Shocktober, aka what we do here with EOS and PIKACHU. And you too. That's right. Ooh, we are watching a different horror movie every day in the month of October. And it's wrapping up. October, losing days in October, and there's only a few more movies to cover. It's been a great month. It's been fun. I love horror movies. I love some horror movies. Like I veer away from Saw movies or torture porn like Eli Roth's Hostel movies. Not for me. There's just some just over gross stuff. But I am a fan of vampire movies, monster movies, um, Hammer movies from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and the Hammer is a British production company, and just they made lots of schlocky, wonderful horror movies. Um, and also, I love 70s and 80s slasher movies. So we had a big emphasis on that this year. We started the month with that. We started the month by covering the entire Friday the 13th series. I got the Scream Factory, Shout Factory box set. Wonderful way to explore that series, the genre, those like the IP itself, the brand, the character of Jason, the evolution of it all. We also did the all of the A Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Same thing with Freddy and the Elm Street mythos and the evolution there. These practical special effects, and we also did the first three Halloween movies from 1978 to 1982. A couple of other slasher movies here and there. So we've kind of moved in the later in the month here. We've moved away from slasher movies and their typicities, such as the Scream Queen, Final Girl, Masked Killer, morality equals life or death. Just we've gone beyond that into From Beyond. Yeah, that's what we're covering today. We've moved into body horror. So body horror has a lot more to do with special effects, practical special effects as well from the late 20th century, which I think for me personally is even as kind of limited or as obvious sometimes. I just think it has a certain charm and a visceral feel almost superior to CGI. I mean, CGI, the last movie we're doing this month is a wonderful blend of practical effects and CGI, and we'll get to that when we get to that. That movie's called Midsummer, a 2019 A24 movie by Ari Aster that just blew my mind, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it since I saw it for the first time earlier this year. So it's my pleasure to cover Midsummer as like my favorite movie, my favorite horror movie this year. Seriously. And I'm going to cover it alongside of last year's favorite movie, the 1974 Wicker 1973 74 The Wicker Man with Sir Christopher Lee as Lord Summerisle. Wonderful. So I'm looking forward to that. But body horror, um, it's about special effects. It's about like mutations, change, metamorphosis, body modification, cybernetics. Also coatings. There's lots of you find, especially in this movie today too. We've got sex culture slash fetish coatings in this, also it's kind of carries over. I can see it all over Hellraiser, Clive Barker's Hellraiser series. Those wonderful horror movies. Also of body horror. We covered Hellraisers 1 and 2 last year for our Creature double feature, but I ended up watching the first 7 of them. I mean, and I really enjoyed that. I would have covered Hellraiser, we'll cover Hellraiser as a series next year. We'll probably even dive into the remake now that it's some time has passed, and I'll be okay to watch it then. Sure. Why not now? I don't know. All I know is that 2023's month of October filled up pretty darn quickly with movies. And today's movie, I am proud to announce, goes with yesterday's movie and was one of the movies that I watched over and over and over again as a teenager growing up in the 1980s. It's from 1986. I'll be 13 years old most of that year, turning 14 in November. And this is From Beyond. Did not see this in the movie theater. I didn't see Reanimator in the movie theater either. I basically probably caught it on late night cable. Horror movies, they played at night. They didn't play this stuff during the daytime. No. No, 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 no. But I would stay up late, and if I'm over my grandparents' house, over a friend's house who had a movie channel and cable TV, I'd be staying up all night watching HBO, watching even USA and their night flight, and they had late night movie theaters too, late night movie shows as well. So, but From Beyond, it has the same production company as Reanimator. It's got some of the same cast as well, same director and same 2 leads from in Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. And but this is just filled with so much practical effects, mutations. It's also based upon an H.P. Lovecraft short story as well. And we're going to have the photo montage in the background, explore some of the extras on this DVD that contained, for this movie, a director and crew commentary track, which was, so good. Which was the director, Stuart Gordon, and Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton herself. And so I was blessed and gifted with 2 movies in a row, Reanimator and From Beyond, with the same production crew, and just that in the same sense of nostalgia and fondness, looking back over all these years, and especially Barbara Crampton herself, just being like unabashed. It's like, hey, it's decades past. Like look at me. I was a young woman then. Like wow, look at my chest. Oh my goodness. She's like, oh, I look, she's like kind of like, hey, look at me. Like I was like, I looked like that once. That's great. I like that. But let's read from you guessed it, the wiki. Like From Beyond is an H.P. Lovecraft short story. It was published in 1920, and it was first published in The Fantasy Fan, June of 1934. And it's the story from an first-person perspective from an unnamed narrator, detailing his experiences with a scientist named Crawford Tillinghast. And remember, electricity was new then. So wasn't radio waves. This is science fiction horror at the turn, from the early 20th century, when this stuff was new. We're a little jaded in this day and age because we kind of forget that electricity, modern conveniences, refrigeration, even deodorant and nice smelling soaps, they're pretty darn recent. This is about 100 years ago. This is, Tillinghast creates an electronic device that emits a resonance wave which stimulates an affected person's pineal gland. therefore allowing them to perceive planes of existence outside the scope of accepted reality, and that there is another universe existing alongside of ours, just a vibration away. And that and so when he turns this resonator machine on, it breaks down the barrier between the two worlds. And but from beyond the film, it ran. Its release date was October the 24th in 1986. So I'll know this basically when I'm 14, probably in '87, renting it on video a lot, because it had a pretty racy scene in here where our Barbara Crampton, our scream queen, starts off in Act One as the frumpy, uptight, 80s quintessential 80s business suit woman with, the teased hair, the glasses, and the shoulder pads, and the blazer. And by the end of by Act Three, she's been, after having her consciousness expanded because of being around this resonator, she's been turned on, and she becomes the mad scientist character in a way. And so Crawford Tillinghast, who's played by Jeffrey Combs, and he's just the assistant to Dr. Pretorius, who's played by Ken Foree. And they turn Dr. Pretorius, his head is eaten by some creature that comes out from beyond. When they cut the power, of course, the dimensions revert to that's how you come out of this. You cut the power off, you stop the machine, so it becomes about keeping it powered up over the 3 acts. And let's see, we'll look at this storyboard to film comparison. Let's do the introduction. We'll probably see some storyboards. I like storyboards because I like sequential art. I'm a big comics fan, if you didn't know. Yeah, 3 o'clock, U.S. Eastern Daily. We talk about, oh, good. Because this started somewhere. We made drawings of this. And then a talented special effects person made them manifest. So it excited your pineal gland, which is deep inside your brain, and it caused yourself to grow like this third eye. And so you've mutated. So that's what happens to Jeremy Combs' character, Crawford. While Catherine, Catherine McMichaels, she's a psychiatrist who, everyone thinks that Crawford has murdered Pretorius. What did you do with the head? You know what I mean? So she's released. He is released into her care, and they go back to the mansion with a big, ex-football player cop named Bubba, who's also a great and it's great because it's comic relief. We have a threesome, of not that kind of threesome. Get your mind out of the gutter, but it does get charged with them over time as they get turned on, their minds turned on by this machine. And it's her idea now that it's to turn the machine back on. And then she becomes, you can see her heel turn. So it's she becomes the mad scientist, but also she's the object of lust for this. That's Pretorius, and he's trying to get back into our reality. And but he was really into sexual fetishes, leather, and bondage and discipline, and videotaping himself and his partners in a safe room. In a any fan of 50 Shades of Grey know about Christian Grey's playroom. So Dr. Pretorius had his own playroom, and so the stodgy, stuck-up Catherine over the course of the 3 acts, is first repulsed by it, she's enticed by it, and then she becomes it. And she, and she's also judged for that as well, which is interesting. And it's a really good movie. I mean, it's interesting because the makers didn't want as much blood as they had in Reanimator. And so they settled for some visceral slime instead. So we're gonna just like load everything up with this disgusting ectoplasmic slime that's the result of these creatures crossing over into our dimension, our space, and and it's like everywhere, and so they did that to be as gross as they could be, but they were like, hey, less blood means we won't get a hassle over the R rating. And apparently the MPAA was more like, oh my gosh, there's so much slime in this. This is almost just as bad as the blood. And so yeah, see, the whole thing is keeping the resonator powered down to keep the barrier between the two dimensions up. And so when you have a circuit, when there's power in this device, it aliens are allowed to incur into our reality and then, eat us in our brains. So yeah, this gets really gross, and it gets a little kinky too. Seriously, I mean, and then comes Dr. Pretorius also. Just once again, Barbara Crampton, Scream Queen, very comfortable with her body, very comfortable with her portrayal of, I would say, an almost victimhood. Because, such as in the last movie with Reanimator, where she's bound to an autopsy table, she's stripped of her clothes, she's completely naked, to where the disembodied head of the big bad is going to try to initiate cunnilingus on her without consent, where the hero busts in, temporarily saves the day. Same in here when Pretorius comes through, now knowing that her darker side of her sensuality has been awakened because of his influence on her. Not only just because of the pineal gland and wanting more sense contacts and finding a bit more zones to sense out, smell, taste, erogenous, sight, colors, sound, and it's really interesting. Yeah, it's pretty trippy and great use of colors too. I mean, the whole thing was they wanted to use green and black in the first movie, Reanimator, as their major theme colors. So this one was that blue, pink, purple color that I'm always bagging on in modern comics and advertising today. And this is the result of this is like late Act 2, close to Act 3. Crawford, and now both him and Catherine had simultaneous assaults by Pretorius and his amoeba form, but hers was a bit more vivacious. It was a bit more sinister because he wanted to enter her mind in order to unconsensually have his way with her. And there could be a problematic node there, but also she not only survives it, because the power shut off, and then both Crawford and Kathleen are both saved from that horrible experience. Crawford was getting almost eaten. He lost his hair and Well, Catherine kept her hair though, but they had like this almost, they were almost ingested and by a huge extra dimensional amoeba like, just something that was like, this body horror thing. These great special effects. I mean, these were practical special effects, no CGI are in these movies. Yes, he's eating brains. It's the only thing that's on it. He just, he needs it to feed, the pineal gland that's like overactive right now. This is such a gross movie. It is really over the top. And he figures out that, she's got one. So he's then begins a habit. Now he's like, he started off as a good guy, but now he needs to eat brains. So he's going to suck your brain through your eye socket. It's just so gross. And yeah, this is a horror movie. It really is. It's From Beyond on DVD. I got this DVD last year. It's a pretty yep, see? Oh no. That's right. And it gets pretty horrible. Yeah. And I love it because there is like a final girl, final gal subversion here in a way, because Catherine survives. At the end, she launches herself out of the third floor window before the house blows up with the resonator, with Pretorius, with Crawford's final fight. And she does this really horrific special effects job on her legs, where you can see her exposed bones. And that she's broken both of her legs saving herself. And then she has this amazing scream. She did all of her own screams. They weren't, and they were part of the take too. They were, I guess they weren't done afterwards, doing an alternate recording that's dubbed into the movie later. A lot of movies do that. That's movie making. Hey, maybe we didn't get a good microphone that day. Don't worry, we can go in and Foley in some more sounds later and stuff. And that's one of those old 20th century splicing things where you match up sound to the picture film. Yeah, huh? There's a huge. I love films. I love movies, and this was just great. This 1-2 punch of Stuart Gordon's movies here. And having the commentary track for both of them, it was just great. And then just this great ending of let's see, this great ending of just her screaming these great final words. It ate him, and then laughing maniacally, like as if she's lost her mind. But yes, here's some of the. It was just over the top gore fest body horror, not a slasher movie. No, it's not about morality. It's more of just. This is different. It's more of a monster movie, and like alien horror movie. But also a lot of the horror comes from the motivations of the human, formerly human, and now definitely post-human, bad guy, good guy between Pretorius and Crawford. And then you have Catherine, herself a scientist, also becoming monstered and having a brilliant heel turn and having a really good character arc. I love it. Just that this movie's really good. If you haven't seen either Reanimator 1985 or From Beyond 1986, stop, drop, and giggle. It's time for you to go to the video store and rent yourself a copy of this. And or you can just buy. I bought a DVD copy, less than $10, you know, um, and I'm just so pleased with it that, when it comes with something like DVD commentary tracks and bonus special effects stuff, I'm just like, I'm thrilled. I really, really love this kind of stuff. Oh, no, it was Ted Sorrell as who would play Dr. Pretorius. Ken Foree played Bubba Brownlee. And it's just so. I don't have enough bad things. Oh my goodness, there was no hope. That was some. Hope I don't get. Oh, maybe the overlords won't see that. Yeah, but that was part of the non-consensual stuff that was about to happen to Catherine, and then the power went out and everything reverted back to, that's a good place to leave it. Eating brains. Well, thank you so very much for tuning in. Tomorrow we're doing, to continue body horror, we're doing Tusk by Kevin Smith. This too has a director commentary track that I find fascinating. I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years. I'm so happy I chose this movie as part of the body horror miniseries, because this is about body horror. It's also about it's a really good movie showing actors acting and some great practical special effects. Seriously, and I love Kevin Smith movies. I really do. I'd have no problem with Smith. I'm not a big He-Man fan, I guess. But this is one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. So I'm looking forward to spending some time talking about that particular movie. And tomorrow, right here with you, dropping 6 p.m. nightly for the rest of October, we're talking about a different horror movie every day, all month long. Welcome to the 31 Days of Halloween, aka the 31 Days of Horror, Shocktober, however you're doing it. There's going to be a playlist right here at the end of the show. If you need some suggestions for some horror movies for your own list, or even for Halloween night, you know what I mean? You've come to the right place. I hope you can like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We're just doing this we do double duty in October. We did this last year. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that it seems that we're landing the plane, and we're gonna enjoy the rest of the month. Last couple of movies, like I said, we're gonna do after Tusk. We're gonna end the month with we're going to end the month with a program in the series about feminism in horror cinema. Kinda. I mean, no, I'm not a feminist, and I'm not very versed on feminist film theory. Yet, we are going to quickly just go back to what we started with, slasher movies. And one of the original slasher movies of the subgenre in horror movies has to be 1974's Black Christmas. And there's just literally so much to say about that movie. And then we're going to finish up with Ari Aster's Hereditary, and then Ari Aster's Midsommar. Spending some time with the ladies of horror. Indeed. Well, thank you so very much for tuning in today. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And please, save me a seat next to you. Where? In that dark movie theater.